What's up, guys? Alrighty, let me just give you a quick little look at what I'm going to be doing today. So this is Unreal Engine 5. We are doing a city simulation, and right now I've been mostly working on getting AI built into it. So you can see some traffic down here. You can see some groups of people, and we're gonna basically come in here and detail this, get some cool shots out of it. So this is for a project that I'm doing, and it's kind of a dream project of mine because I started doing architecture visualization maybe 4.5 years ago, and back then I was looking at Unreal Engine as the future of architecture visualization, which is an industry where you visualize buildings that are going to be built. And the tech was getting so good that I realized it was gonna eventually start being used in the film industry, because I was reading on forums how people were putting green screens on the back of shots and using them for film, not just gaming. So I didn't have the hardware back then. I had no idea how to even use Unreal Engine. So fast forward 4 or 5 years now, I've been playing around with it for a couple of years, and Unreal Engine 5 recently came out, which is just a huge step up from Unreal Engine 4, which I think it took them, I don't know, like probably 5 or 6 years at least on Unreal Engine 4. So this is a huge update, and it's used all over in the film industry for film now. So you'll get to see why. If you're coming to this from YouTube, you probably already know that Unreal Engine is awesome. So here's what happened. I got this project where they need a city animation, and I'm just really excited to finally be doing a paid project in Unreal. And it's already paid off leaps and bounds. I mean, what I've been able to do in just a few days is like what used to take me weeks or months to do the traditional way. Because you think about this, if you're animating a video, if you're doing a city, you have to animate every person, every car, and picture a tree blowing in the wind. That adds a lot of realism and like breath of life to the shots. But I don't even know how to animate a plant to look realistic. That just seems like an impossible task. So that's when I was like, wow, let's start looking into this. And now what I can do is basically paint the traffic and the people in here. Now what happened is the Matrix collaborated with Unreal Engine when they released Unreal Engine 5, and last month Unreal, or Epic Games, they released, I'm just gonna exit out of this so I can show you exactly how to get to where I got. So this was the pack that they released, and it's free. Unreal is like an open source project, so a lot of their stuff that they create, they'll release it open source and free. And this just came out a month ago, so I was like, this is perfect. I don't even have to pay for a pack, and I'm gonna get the most up-to-date that's ever existed, basically. So I open it up on my PC, which I'm running a GTX 2060 Super. It's not like the top of the line, but it's pretty much there. It'll get you most of the way there, maybe 80%. And every time I ran it, it would just crash. I mean, it looks incredible, but it was just way too much for my GPU. I might be bottlenecking it with my RAM a little bit, but I think it's mostly a GPU issue. I would probably want to have the top of the line 3080 or 3090, which those things can run thousands of dollars. So I definitely didn't want to have to upgrade my GPU for this project. Now, luckily, I had pitched to the client something of this quality. And I've taken the course from Joe Garth on Learn Squared. That's one of the first courses I did for Unreal. This dude's super legit, has some great work that he's done that's like almost inspired me. So I knew that he had a pack I could buy for 40 bucks, and I could at least obtain this quality. Now this was for Unreal Engine 4, so I knew that my GPU would be able to run it. But that really bummed me out because the level of detail in this Matrix project is just insane. If you look at this trash on the ground and puddles, I think the other project might have some puddles as well, but yeah, this is just, the level of detail is just insane. Where if you look at this one, let's see, a street. You can't really show the street that much. If you look down on it, it's kind of hidden away. Yeah, there you go. It's just like so basic. There's nothing that really makes it feel like it's real, as far as like signs or trash, litter, parked cars, people, all that stuff. So I ultimately figured out that I could open this project up inside of the Matrix project. And when I open the level up inside the project, it runs no problem. And then I figured out that not only will I be able to take assets, so like little park benches and little litter and trash bags and all that stuff, I can drop them into detail just where the camera's looking, instead of having an entire map that has that level of detail. And then this took me most of yesterday and today. I figured out how you can take the AI and basically paint it in like where you need it. Now, that was beyond anything that I'd ever done in Unreal, but it's actually pretty simple if you just follow the steps correctly. So, let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is, I was gonna show you guys like an example of this city, because I don't want to open it up. It'll probably crash. I can barely run it. Let's look at the cinematic shots. Here we go. Yeah, it's insane. Just, it would take months to build something like that by yourself. If one person could even do it by themselves, like, it's probably a huge, not a huge team, but probably at least a decent sized team worked on it. And so we get to take all of the beautiful things from that and use them very sparingly not super sparingly, but we get to use them in this other pack. So let's do it. Alright, so I'm going to open this city sample. Now it says the recommended specs is the 2080, which is just above mine, I believe. Mine is the super, so it's probably about similar. It's 8 gigs of VRAM, but it says to scale it down and to turn the mass AI density down to improve the performance. But I turned it all the way down. I turned the AI down to like basically none, and I still couldn't get it to run without crashing. So like I think it almost ran a couple times, or maybe it did or something, but when I'm working on a project on a deadline, last thing I want to deal with is constant crashing. That would just be a nightmare. So this method that I found is way better, and we'll show you. So we're going to file, recent levels. Basically what you would do is you would take the city sample, the matrix one, and then when you purchase the urban buildings pack, it gives you the option of add to project. So I just added it to the project. It doesn't even let you open it by itself, so you have to add it to a project basically. And then I put all of that right in Brushify right here. So under design packs, urban buildings, maps, this would be your main map right here. So you open this level up. I'm not going to do that because I guess, yeah, okay, I should have duplicated it originally. I can always re-download it later though, so it's not a biggie. But that's where it's located for me. And so I'll switch through the views here. So you just hit the number pad. He already has a bunch of different views set up. So we've got 1, we've got 2, sorry, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take these different shots and we're gonna try and find the money shot, and we'll probably put all of our focus into just one shot. Maybe to the client I might show them a few different angles that we could come from, but I'm pretty much gonna choose one and just detail one of these shots. So we'll go through the map and we'll try and figure out the exact angle of the shot that we want and what we want the camera movement to look like. And then once we figured that out, then we know where we want to add the detail. So then we're gonna do that. You can see here, I took this shot and I started adding buildings in the background. These are from the matrix pack. So these are actually higher fidelity buildings back here than these ones might be, but they're actually like built for the distance in the matrix pack. So it's not the main buildings from the matrix, it's like the ones in the background. And if I could remember where I found that, that would be under environment, background city. Yeah, there you go. Just yeah, I believe it's that mesh material. I think I just grabbed these, right? Yeah, it's got the material on it. So you could just drag and drop those wherever you want. They actually look pretty good up close as well. So I might end up doing some more up close stuff with that, but I don't really need it at the moment. I'm curious, so I might play with that later. And then, yeah, so I added these in the background. Let me show you what it looks like without them. So he actually did have some buildings in the background. You can kind of see, here, wait. Kind of looked more like that. They're just really basic blocks. And you can see some more over here. But I really wanted it to have a pretty epic skyline, so I added these kind of right where your eye is directed in the background. I think I have 4 or 5 of these. And then I added a little bit over here because I think that's a pretty cool shot right there. The way that the light catches just through the building over here looks pretty cool. And then I added like warehouses and docks down on the water because I thought the water line didn't really look all that natural. Let's see, that's not on the right. Road short. Just want to keep it all organized. Docks. There we go. Okay. So yeah, you can even, there's even a dock across the water line that I added. It's really subtle at this size. I have to zoom in a little more. I think I could zoom. Do I still have that camera? Yeah, now you can kind of see that dock across the water. I might go in and add some more detail along there, but I think it looks pretty good. You can see like these street lights, street lamps, whatever, that kind of go down. This kind of looks like a boardwalk kind of thing. And then you've got some warehouses on the water, which seems a little more realistic. And there's also added another warehouse down here in the bottom right. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm thinking for the main shot. As far as camera movement goes, I'm thinking flying in. What we can actually do is we're gonna run this. I'm gonna hit selected viewport. And the cool thing is that it actually brings the Matrix character and game into this level. Now the traffic systems and all that definitely weren't working. Because they didn't exist in this level. So I had to take that AI and bring it in. I'm gonna show you guys how I did that. But yeah, we're trying to run this real quick. So let me get it running first, and then I will take you into taking the, it's called a mass spawn generator that creates the crowds of pedestrians or traffic. And they're kind of tricky. It's a pretty technical process. So it's best to take it from an existing level and copy it in here. If you, let's see, I'm not gonna cover it in depth actually. There's a YouTuber called JS Films with a Z at the end, Films, and he's been really helpful he does kind of like cinematic Unreal Engine videos, tutorials. He has a couple courses that I'll probably take eventually, and he's the one who showed me how to do this stuff with the crowd. So if you search, I think it's like mass crowd AI tutorial, JS Films, that should pop up, and he shows you exactly how to get the crowd of people and how to draw the path that they walk along and how to get that working. And then he said, in the future I'm going to do this on traffic, but that never came. I mean, this is all pretty fresh, like this whole Matrix demo for UE5. So I couldn't expect them to come out with the traffic that soon, but I really want to have traffic for this project. So I spent most of this morning going in and trying to get the traffic working, and by golly, I did it. So before we jump into really like working on the scene, and adding detail to it, I'm going to show you guys how I got the traffic working. Let's see, I'll whip my controller out. That'd actually be really helpful for trying to figure out where the shot's gonna be. Because we want to figure out what the camera movement's going to do, and that's the main part of it. Because if we just do a fixed shot, then it's not going to make sense. We want to start where the camera's going to start. So we know, okay, you see this empty road on the left, we're going to need some traffic going down that, right? And then we're going to fly in and see there's a lot of detail to add down here if we were going to take that angle. So the question is, where does the camera move to reveal the least amount of that stuff, so we don't have to detail as much? There's going to be like a sweet spot, and I've already started on this road a little bit. You'll see one issue that I have right now is that the scalability is off, the scale of things, because you know, these guys actually do look about the same size as those doors, but I think it's mostly the width of the road and just like lack of detail in the middle of the road. Like if we wanted this corner, for example, to look really good, then I would just pull a bunch of assets from the Matrix collection. I would be adding park benches, you know, like maybe little newspaper stands and litter on the road. I'll try and maybe find something I could use as an island that runs down the middle of the road. One of the big things that I haven't figured out yet actually is the parked cars. So maybe I will do an update video on that later, once I finish this project or whatever, or getting close, because the parked cars will really add a lot, and I'll be able to take up some of the width in the road as well if I'm putting them on the side of the road. I don't think that part should be very hard. I think it would almost be exactly the same process as I used to get the AI traffic working. But yeah, so we're gonna want to figure out what the exact camera movement is. But before I do that, let me just touch on how I got the traffic in this level. So I'm just gonna exit out, and I'm going to go into content drawer, AI, agent config. Now you can build it manually by taking like a crowd spawner and then linking it in. That's how I got the crowd working, the pedestrians. But for the vehicles, it was a little more complex. So what I ended up doing was opening up map, and then you have mass crowd. I've made a bunch of duplicates of it. But mass crowd is, I'll just open it up real quick. Alright, I'm going to put on the bonsai playlist. Alright, we're going to go into detail now. I'm going to take my camera off so that I'm not covering anything, but I will see you guys soon. Alright, so this is the basic AI example level, and there's not really much detail except for these, but you can get rid of all of the buildings, the street lamps, the benches, all of that. So I duplicated this and then I stripped it down. because that's how JS Films kind of showed me how he did it with the crowd, is he stripped it all down, deleted everything that was unnecessary so that it was easier to understand the basic operating blueprints of this. So delete all of that, then you're left with the crowd and the traffic. I duplicated it again because I wanted to separate them. I had already gotten the crowd working. I figured out how to build that from scratch. But as for the traffic, it was a little more complex. So I'm going to show you I'm not quite sure which one I took it from. Okay. Yeah, this was my most basic simplified version. So originally, I think in this one even, yeah, you have these kind of complex paths that they go along, and you also have to have these intersections, and I'm not quite sure how the intersections are done. It does have a tag of an intersection, and the shape type is different. Okay, polygon, spline. So if you changed it to polygon, weird. See, that didn't work, clearly. What is even different? Polygon Bezier. So if I put it to spline, back to polygon, then it breaks. So the point is, I haven't quite figured out how to do the intersections part yet, but I realized if I just stripped it down, then this was the most simplified version of it right here. So here we have really 3 key components. I put these under a folder called traffic, and there is one more component right here. When you're done with the graph data, you might want to organize it with the traffic just to keep it close by. But it also has the data for the pedestrians as well. So I put this in the AI folder. I'll get into that later. Let me put that back where it was actually, because it's mostly these 3. So right here we have the zone shape 6, and you could probably manually add that by coming up to this button and typing in zone. Then you can find zone shape right here. That's all it is. And then there's some settings that are particular to it. These arrows going up and down right here, this is the direction of the traffic. Like, do you want 2 lanes of traffic going in opposite directions? Or do you want 2 one-ways, 3 one-ways, etc.? Oops, where did I go? Under zone. And this is a spline. We already showed what happens. I broke things, so keep that the same. And then the tag is vehicle. Now, you have 2 blueprints for a spawner, a mass spawner. Now, like I said earlier, these can be found right here under Content AI agent config. But since this one, the traffic's a little more complex to me, and I didn't want to break anything, I decided just to copy it directly from here. So I came in here, and I copied this, this, and this. And copy, came over to the original project, pasted them, okay? Now there are a couple settings. So first of all, this traffic intersection spawner, I have no idea what it does. I think I could probably delete it, but when I do delete it, it says it has a reference to this traffic vehicle, the mass traffic vehicle spawner. So I didn't want to break anything. I'm just leaving it for now in case I want to add intersections later. And the one weird thing about it is the count is sent to -1. Now that's odd because that's where you control the amount of vehicles or pedestrians that are going to spawn. So right here under the mass traffic vehicle spawner, I have count 20, and that should spawn about 20 vehicles in total. I think you can give or take a little because it doesn't seem to always be exact. Not quite sure what that's all about, but roughly 20. No idea what this thing's doing with -1. So I'm just not gonna touch that, but you can change the count on this to whatever. You could change it to the default ones were in the Matrix demo were like 35,000 people and cars, and there was a lot going on. So you can crank that pretty high if you got the power for it. I think it's mostly GPU power. So the other important part is spawn data generators. You go under index, you go under generator instance, and you set this to mass traffic vehicle. Let's see, which one is this? I'm gonna make this wider. Mass traffic vehicle spawn data generator. Now I'm not quite sure how that connects to things. It's a little more clear in the pedestrian version, but just know that that's what you want to set to, okay? And then that's all you need to do within that one. But you come in the zone shape and you have 400 tagged. You can change that, customize it however you want. Then you have reverse lane profile, which comes in handy if you just want to reverse the direction of it quickly, and keep that as spline. Tags, you're going to select vehicle. All right, so I'm just going to simulate this. I hit play. There we go. It's crazy, incredible, amazing. I cannot believe how easy that is. I mean, that might seem a little technical, but to not have to animate that and have the cars all think for themselves, and they look great. They all go at different speeds and variations and brake and accelerate at different times. I don't know, it breaks my brain how useful and awesome this is. So what you're going to do is take these three, you're going to copy them, you're going to come back to your urban buildings, open that level up. And once you paste them in here, I was right here when I pasted it, it landed somewhere out here over the water. So let's see, I'm gonna go to my camera, right click, pilot. Okay, so that's where the camera is. Now if we go to AI, I made this folder, I just called it AI. That's where I pasted all this stuff in. So right here I have crowd, and that's the crowd one that's covered in JS Films YouTube video. And then this traffic one, oops. these are all the components right here. So you'll notice I have a bunch of shapes. That's because I was having issues getting the spacing and the scale to look right with doing multiple lanes of traffic within one zone shape. And I found that if I just duplicate the zone shape and drag it right next to it, then that's its own lane. So I could basically have a lane there, one there, one there, one there, and that's kind of like custom spacing. I'll come in closer on this a little later to show you how that works, but real quickly, that's just a bunch of duplicated and repositioned zone shapes, and then I have the original ones. I just put them, organize them under a traffic folder. Now the important thing is you're going to have zone graph data. You're going to want to delete that. If you don't have it, that's fine. Then after you've deleted it, you come into build zone graph. And I'll just delete it real quick. It doesn't take long. Build zone graph. Generates a new one down here. Once you're done with that, I would recommend taking it and dropping it inside of the AI folder just to keep things organized. But you need to regenerate it every time you mess with that path. So I would recommend you can just leave it down here until you're about done with it. So let's see, I'll go back on this camera. Actually, I'll just go right here, hit play. I don't want to play as the character really. I could. Yeah, check this out. So the player start down here, that dictates where the player starts from. I don't think I can get off that roof because the player I don't believe can jump. So I'm just gonna take her and drop her over by all this AI that I placed over here. And then she can fly, so it's the perfect way to try and figure out my camera movement. But yeah, once you've built the zone graph data, you should just be able to hit play. And this will take a minute the first time. Whoa. I don't know what it's doing right now. We'll give it a minute though. I'll be right back. you can see it's still building some characters. Seems like it's building quite a bit. I think, oh, okay. It's been ready, I've just been not selected in the right window. So I think I need to fly my way out of this. I don't know exactly what's going on. I am lost. It's like I'm stuck. Let's exit out. It's because my character spawn was under the road. Let's just bring that up a little bit. You can see these lanes a little better now. And then this is the path for the pedestrians. So let's hit play again. And there we go. Wonder if they'll stop for me. Yep. That is some smart AI right there. I just wish I could jump. But I can fly, which is pretty neat. So one issue that I'm having with this, with these pedestrians, well, for one, this sidewalk is just way too big. So I think what I'll do is probably try to layer another zone shape on top of it, so that just to widen it, kind of the same way I did with the traffic, by adding those side by side. I could come into the crowd spawner. No, the zone shape actually. And here we have pedestrian, one this way, then one this way. I think that's the only option, honestly. I don't see any other pedestrians on here. So let's try just duplicating that. And then I'm going to come all the way down to zone graph data, delete that, build zone graph. You'll see that has updated. Now I'm going to hit play again. It shouldn't take nearly as long. And yeah, it does seem like there's two distinct paths here. It seems like it split the amount of pedestrians though, so I'll probably want to bump that up. But that's getting close to a density that could seem realistic. So if I fly, I'm gonna try and figure out where the shot would go. I don't think I'm actually going to keep them there. I think my camera is pointed. I mean, this isn't bad if I wanted to do something like this. That's actually pretty perfect. Yeah, it will be fun eventually to start playing with intersections, so like these cars right here would stop here for a minute and then they would go. The thing is, I don't know if this corner is the best place to start, just because it's so wide and open. This huge gap, it seems like there needs to be like some benches, some fountains, some newspaper stands, something like that at least in there. And then we would need to do the same over here. The question is, if I like obstructed that a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll just want, because this is one of the best shots right here. I've already got the background all designed on this. I might add some more detail to the right here looking in the distance. But my primary concern is even more like this, you see this open space right in here? So I want to add some stuff in there. I'll have to add traffic along this street and this street. I have to put some stuff on these giant sidewalks to not make them look so empty. And then I would pretty much want to simulate traffic all the way down that road. The question is, what if I did something like this? Because that reflection looks really good. But that could be almost a cool reveal if it went like I guess we're gonna see how much AI it's gonna take to crash my GPU. And then we can mess with turning down the quality if we need to. But it's almost like if I didn't show down the roads, kind of with a shot more like this, that doesn't look straight down one of the roads, it might save me a lot of that. So what about a shot that was like either way, I'm still gonna want to put something down in this little blank space right here. It's not as visible if I'm lower. It's when I'm higher that it's a little more visible. So I could even start a little higher back here and then move the camera in lower. And then that would reveal that corner, which I'm already working on. This little blank space right here, add some detail. And I think I'm still gonna need to add something in here, no matter how low it is. So that doesn't really matter that much. It could be cool to get like a close-up on this. And how did that material get off like that? Huh. Is it supposed to look like that? I don't think so. I think the UV map is off. It doesn't look too bad from a distance, but it doesn't look great close up. Let's see if we could do a close up to this building. Yeah, that's pretty good. And in the final shot, I'll probably do like a time lapse where the sun is setting Thing is, it'll be hard to do the traffic time lapse. So maybe I won't, because I don't want to mess with, I think if I was, yeah, time lapse with traffic just sounds like a huge headache. I could do time lapse with the sun while the traffic's going normal speed. That would be a little weird, but it might work. But yeah, originally I was thinking we could start like down on the street level. Just have some really fine detail, like grab some of that litter that's on the ground from the Matrix demo and like put it on the streets, get some puddles, stuff like that. And then just do like a big reveal like this. And that way it could actually, I could even start underground basically. Kind of like this. Just a I mean, that looks cool, but see, that doesn't look great at all. I bet it'd look better looking an aerial view on one of these ones. These were grabbed from the Matrix pack. Yeah, you can see the detail difference between the urban building background versus the Matrix background buildings. It's insane. Just realized that's not on the ground all the way, but I don't think anyone will notice unless we were to get up close on it. Yeah, I'm curious. Wow. It's like the level of detail is just so much better on this asset even. Look at that difference. I'm just wondering, would it be better to just start with this? I'm gonna scale it up a little bit. 89. I'm gonna say 120. The fog is swallowing it. Cool, it's almost like a layer of fog. Okay, so we don't want to get too close on this, because if we get close we can tell that it's actually a little lower fidelity than maybe even the other one. The detail is insane, but only from a fair distance. So I think what we're gonna want to do is we'll stick with this one, but we really want to start digging into what kind of assets we can pull from the matrix one to add like a street level detail. Now, I don't know exactly where those are located. I'm going to simulate the AI. Okay. Now I'm going to add a camera. So this is how you would start creating video in it. So far I've only flown around as like a character or just in this floating around this viewport right here. But when you're ready to start working on camera movements and actual angles, you'll want to pull a camera in. So you can click up here, go to cinematic, cine camera actor. I might play with some camera rigs later if I want some more dynamic type movements. I haven't really done that much though, so we're just going to do a basic camera for now. And I don't really need this because I already created one. So if you select this camera, you can right click it and go to pilot camera. And this is, now we're seeing what the camera's seeing. So we're going to want to start working on this camera movement so we know where the detail is going to go. So let's get a basic version of this. I'm going to come up to this little clapper icon up here, and I'm going to click, you can add a level sequence. I've already got one right here, so I just click this. And I can open it up right here. Alright, so now this is a timeline that you might be familiar with. Similar to After Effects or any animation type software, video editing, whatever. So we have our keyframes, and right here we have the X location being animated in. I chose kind of the middle ground for where the camera originally was. Then I brought it a little back, and I also brought it a little forward. So I could actually just delete that middle one. So this is point A, this is point B. Since I don't really have any boat assets, or I don't know how I would animate the water trailing behind them, stuff like that, I'll probably stay a little further back from the water so I don't have to go into crazy detail. And then I'm going to drag my point A actually into the middle because I want to go even further back and see what it looks like. delete that. I think I could end like somewhere in here. That's pretty good. I think I want some rotation as well. Yeah. Let's give it some yeah. So I'm just thinking of concepts for this video because it's a logo animation. It's going to be really quick. And the only concept I have so far is that there's going to be like a realistic city render. So I need to think of what's actually going to happen in the shot. What is the story of this quick shot? Now, one concept I could think of is that it could start with just like a flash of light, or it goes dark, and then like these little buildings could kind of pop out, so it's kind of abstract, like people don't know what they're looking at. And then these lights in these buildings could start flickering on, and as it reveals, as it shows this city, other lights start coming on, stuff like that. The company is in the electrical space, so they create things that turn lights on in cities. So I think that's what the concept is going to be based around. We just need to figure out the right shot. I think the big question is I want to do something like micro to macro. So should it start on a really micro scale? Really small in and then go out and show a whole city. Or do we start macro and show the city being powered on and then go in on something that's more micro? I guess that concept is easy to reverse if I change my mind, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. And the question is, with something micro, do I want to take it like literally and start with something like a little microchip, switch, something that powers something on? Or do I want to start with maybe the logo? I'm not going to be doing much of the logo animation part of things on the stream, but it's something to think about. I think we start micro and then we go macro because they have like a globe in their logo. So I think we go really macro to like show the globe. Need some more tea. So I basically know that I'm gonna need traffic on this street that goes horizontal, and then there's this street that runs up the road, and this one that I already have a little bit of it on. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically be 4 times the amount of AI that I already have if we had this shot. Now, I'm still going to be playing around quite a bit. If we start somewhere micro like this, then you know, I might come in and put like a matrix little building, add the detail right here, and then what would this look like? Oh, I wasn't keyframing that. Okay, so we'll go here, keyframe the Z position, and come back to starting point, bring it down, and there we go. Now the question is this camera movement very interesting? That's why I'd want to play with some of the other types of cameras, because I'd almost like to have like a flying dolly where I could kind of arc the shot, you'd usually do like null objects and then attach them in something like in After Effects, but I'm not quite sure how to achieve that here. That's a pretty good endpoint. The one thing is, I do wish that we could show that part of the map as well, just because I think So maybe I would want to... Oh, nice. I figured out the shortcut for that. Yeah, if I... yaw the camera... Whoa. Just a little bit this direction. I could really add some... Yeah, it's not high enough to... So that's kind of cool. I do wish that it was like on a street somewhere. So we could have some cars and people. I think that would really add to it. Can't tell if this is going to keyframe it. I'll do it this way. Okay, here's a street at least. Flying through a couple buildings there. Okay. Took it off a little bit. Don't want to figure out, don't want to go close up on this building unless I can figure out the UV mapping issue, that's for sure. That's really kind of a cool camera movement though, but kind of broke a lot of things. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere a little bit. I think I'll just, I'm not gonna go like super literal cheesy with the like power circuits or anything, but I think I'll have this close up somewhere that I could have some people walking around, some traffic, and then as this comes up, lights will start flicking on. I'm not sure if it's going to be getting dark and that's why you'll see all the lights flicker on, or what. but I think the concept is kind of like chung, 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 like the opposite of a big blackout power outage. And then if you were to play this in reverse, then it'd be like, poof. It would look like a blackout. And it'd probably start like nighttime and then slightly go to like sunset, daytime. Right here. So we're getting closer. I want to figure out where this camera should go. I think I'm a little too close right here. I want to punch out. And I'm not sure that's the money shot either. Street. There's no streets. It's like the only one going through. Ooh, that's dope. That's dope. I like that. could just draw a road through here if I wanted. Kind of looks like a park. It's kind of cool. And let's turn it even a little more. It's kind of a lot of movement, all just to show that little background part. I wish there was like a... Should probably do it in a more smooth way. Let's just wish. Okay, let's get rid of this part. And then for this part, what if the camera was just facing this direction so that it's a fluid movement? Does give me that shot that I was hoping for, but I'd rather start here. Go. Let's start the shot there. Yeah, I like that. And with this shot, I really don't need much at all. Could use some traffic driving through there, right here, down that main street, and maybe just a tiny bit at the end here, but you can hardly even see that road just for a couple frames. And that way I wouldn't really need to use much. I'd probably generate some pedestrians walking through here lightly. I'm going to need to smooth out these keyframes in a way that makes that seem more natural. And I kind of like this because it doesn't like distinctly show a building, where one of these kind of looks like the Empire State. I mean, you just don't want the focus to be really on the buildings themselves. We'll focus more on like the lights that are staying on and stuff. Now, the other issue that I'm going to run into is that there's not going to be any streetlights at night. So I wonder if I could grab streetlights from the Matrix game, drop them in here, and whether they'd have the light source tied to them. I would think so. But yeah, some kind of shot like this could really do. The question is, what am I going to have here? I like that there's already like some trees there. I'll probably use Quixel Bridge to come in there and add some more detail. There's kind of a gap. It's almost like a little courtyard, so that almost looks natural. I can think of some places in downtowns that look like that. But I might just add a little bit of AI of people like walking through there or something. Might add some benches or just a little bit. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Pretty darn good. The one thing is just I want to make sure that this camera movement's going to be smooth enough. And there's that roof right there. I think I could actually start up there if I wanted to. Trees are a little bit more visible there, but yeah, that looks pretty good. I might even just remove that and add some custom stuff in there. But for now, that works as a placeholder. delete this one, I think. It just needs to go higher, faster, and that would be good. Just a little bit more. Because that looks better down there, honestly. I just really want that detail in there. So, exit this camera, grab this, move back a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, you can see it a little bit now. Just a little bit. So let's move it a little more. That should do. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I don't know, I just really love that detail. I'm gonna try and find a way to highlight it even more if possible. Okay, so I do know I'm going to want that road there, so let me just show you an example of how I would accomplish this. When I collapse all the set dressings, I'm going to come into AI, into traffic, and highlight all of these. Just move over to where you can kind of see it. I could. I hate that. Just gonna move this over here. I need to get a good look at it. Hate navigating in here. I think I just haven't learned how to do it correctly, honestly. But for now, I've found if I turn sideways, I go a lot faster. let's see how these are looking. So there's one there, and there. So we just need to go a little bit closer, or to the right. Let's try that. Still need to go a little to the right. That's a little too far. Okay, that's pretty good. And just gonna save real quick. Now let's take the crowd, and I want to put them by the camera. Where is that little park? Back in there. There it is. So we're gonna grab this AI over here for the crowd. Shift him, shift them back in here. I basically just want them in that park right there for now. Let's look at these zone shapes. Kind of hard to see from here. Go away. Can I lock you? Okay, I'm not quite sure where those are walking right now. I need to get in closer to see the shape of it, but just to test it, I'm going to jump into my camera. Come here. Okay, I can see that path going right through here, so there should be some people. I'll select both of these. Alrighty. Now we want to hit zone graph data, delete that, come to build zone graph. I'll have a new one down there. I'm just going to hit save again in case it crashes and simulate. Now, why did it switch? Okay, I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to grab player start, delete that, and add a new one right here. Perfect. Now I'm going to hit selected viewport to run the game in. Huh. Can I even see over this wall? I'm gonna fly. There we go. Not too bad. They're a lot smaller than I thought they would be. The lighting's pretty bad over here. So I'll definitely be changing the lighting so that they are lit up Otherwise you can't tell how detailed they are. I think I also turned like turned something off under lighting. Might have just deleted it. Yeah, I'll be adding some cool lighting in there. Now let's test, just say I wanted to grab something from the well, okay, first things first, let me show you how I would edit this path that they're walking on. Right? So I'm gonna get rid of the second one for now. Take this one and come in here. So you can select all these different endpoints. So let's say we wanted people to just walk the perimeter of it. That there. Put this here. I'm gonna hit Option. I think it's Option on Windows. Why is it doing that? Huh. Interesting. Weird. I don't know why it's doing that. But there we go. So that's kind of just a path around the park. I'm gonna grab, is this player start right here? Yeah. I'm gonna drag it inside of the park. Now delete the zone graph data again and rebuild it. Now hit play. There you go. Yeah, these trees look really good. I'll be able to grab some more tree assets out of Quixel. I should be able to grab park benches, pretty much all the stuff I need. But I will want to experiment coming into the Matrix demo to see what I can grab out of there as well. No, I don't really want to open it up because, like I said, that can crash my setup. But if I come into Megascans, 3D assets, bike stand, bolts and screws, broken cinder blocks, broken concrete. So this is Quixel Megascans assets already, so I don't really need to do this necessarily. I could just use Quixel Bridge, which might make it a little easier for locating things. But we've got gates, fire hydrants, cigarette boxes. There we go. Got a cigarette box on the ground. So what happens when I run this? And do I see it? It's very dark. Yep, that's it right there. Awesome. Delete that for now. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick little break. Gonna probably call Sky and just see what's going on. I'll take a break. I might be gone for about 10 minutes or so. And then I'm gonna come in and I think instead of doing the matrix assets, I might just jump into Quixel, because it's kind of hard to look at all of these like from I guess I can just read what they are, but I'd like to be able to see them, and Quixel's easier for that. These are just mega scans. We also have roads. We have, oops, where was I? Road. Okay. So we're under content. Environment. City pier. City edge pier. That's where I got the docks and everything from. Background city. That's where I got the background city from. Courtyard. Oh, nice. See, those will be sweet. Yeah, I'll probably just build out of the matrix assets for now because it's already selected. To open up Quixel, I'd have to make sure that like Quixel Bridge is all updated, and then you shop for assets and you have to download each of them, import them to the project, whereas these ones are already handpicked in the project. So I'm going to start with this one. Maybe next stream when I'm covering some new things like parked traffic AI, maybe I'll cover the Quixel Bridge as well. But that would be the ultimate way to really detail this because they have so many 3D assets that you can throw in there. So anyways, I'm going to go take my break. When I get back, we're going to dig into some of these assets and start placing them and see how they look. I'll probably start with just populating this park a little bit. I'm not certain I'm going to use it, but we got to start somewhere. And unless I can think of a better concept, then park seems like a pretty good place because it's going to have some trees and some people. Look really lifelike. All right, my friends, I'll be back in 10-15 minutes or so. All right, I just got off the phone with Sky, and she's doing something with her mom. So I am going to keep the stream rolling. I'm actually going to cut this one and start a new one. So I'm going to cut this, take a little break, get some dinner, get refreshed, and then I'll be back at it in probably the next half hour or hour. And I'll probably go for as late as I can tonight, really. I'm going to put in as much time as possible. So we'll be starting here with this park, and we're going to start making it look really dope. So stay tuned for my next stream coming soon. See ya. My baby.